Gavel.
2024 public hearing
of the City of Prescott Preservation Commission. Our members present are Marianne Suttles, James McCarver, Rob Johnson, Mike King, our vice chair, and myself, Michael Mirko, the chair. We also have our preservation specialist, Kaylee Nunez, and our recording secretary, Sarah Hilton, present. There are 5 of us, and it will take, well, this is an open hearing and is being videotaped and recorded by the city. The processing are being televised, and representatives of the public media, local cable, radio station, and maybe rebroadcasts. The number of commissioners are 5. There will require a majority vote to pass a motion. All parties wishing to be heard will be expected to state their name at the podium and an address. Please, all electronic devices on mute. Thank you. Our agenda today, we have 3. Actually, the approval of our November minutes, and we have 2 requests, one for fencing and one for signage. I will, at this point, turn this meeting, and we also have the mayor and our new liaison from the city council, Connie Cantelmi, present, and our mayor, Phil Good. Anyways, at this point, I'll turn the meeting over to Kaylee.
Would you like to vote on the minutes from the last meeting?
Oh, we need to vote on them.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion to accept those minutes from our meeting November 3rd, 2023.
Do I have a second?
Mr. Chairman, Mike King, I'm moving this, we approve. Second that motion.
I have a question. It's Jim McCarver.
Go ahead.
So did we ever get any follow-up on the denial from the folks from last time because of the location of the gazebo? Any follow-up from them?
I'll update you all at the end of the meeting on that, plus 2 other items. Okay?
Kaylee, your mic is down. I'm barely hearing you.
Hello.
Good deal.
I have a soft
Okay,
voice.
that motion to approve minutes passed. The second on the agenda,
Okay, thank you. Good morning, Chairman, Commissioners, Mayor Pro Tem. Today we have 2 items. So the first item is a request for front yard fencing replacement at 306 South Mount Vernon Avenue. So this property is actually in 2 districts. It is in the Southeast Prescott Local District and the Jocelyn Whipple National District. So I tried to find an older photo, but the one in the top left is just from the late 90s. And the home is, of course, listed on the National Register. It's a bungalow style. It was constructed about 1914, 1915. So there's an aerial map. It's right near the intersection of Carlton Street and Mount Vernon. So the proposal is to remove deteriorated fencing in the front side yards and then install 77 lineal feet of 4-foot-high decorative black steel fencing. There's a diagram there. It's going to be about 60 lineal feet on the north side and 17 lineal feet on the south side. Analysis, it was pretty short and sweet, so I used East Prescott guidelines to analyze this, as we still don't have a chapter for the Southeast District yet. But the 2 are very comparable districts. So Chapter 10 in part states that there's an assortment of fencing material within the district, including wood picket, cast iron, stone, concrete, and chain link. So wrought iron or metal is a common fencing material. Especially if it's decorative, it contributes to the stateliness of the neighborhood. So there's a detail on the right. Hopefully you can see that. It has like a spear detail on the top, which is in line with a lot of fences in that area. So it is compatible with the existing front yard fencing as well as other fences within the district. And then I included the landscape plan that was provided. They're going to be doing some landscaping. More or less, they're not really changing anything. Any like shrubbery they take out, they're going to replace. And we do have the homeowner here in case you have any questions. So recommended action, move to approve HP 23-016. And I'm open for any questions.
So this is Jim McCarver. Just a quick question. The fence is gonna. There's a white fence on the back side of the house, and so the fence will go to that. The wrought iron will go to that white fence. Is that right? Okay.
Any others? Well,
Mr. Chairman, Michael King.
You have to hold the button.
Mr. Chairman, Michael King, I move that we approve HP 23-016, which is approval for the linear, the 77 feet, and tying in the fences as described.
Mr. Chairman, Marion Suttles,
Okay, thank you.
with that, that's passed. Good luck.
Oh, yes, all in favor?
Aye.
That's, sorry,
Unanimous.
got ahead of myself.
Okay, so second item, freestanding sign for Salud Spa, or I'm not sure if it's Salu, at 309 East Gurley Street. So again, the picture in the upper left is from the inventory form done in the 90s. Bottom right is the property currently. So this property is also in two districts. I like to call them double dippers. So it's in the, hold on here. It's in the East Prescott National Historic District and the Southeast Prescott Local District. So again, the proposal is for a 55 by 40 inch acrylic panel on aluminum frame with 60 inch tall 4 by 4 inch aluminum posts. So the aluminum framing and posts are to be painted matte white, and the sign background will be matte blue with mirror gold PVC lettering. So here's a rendering provided by the applicant, Morgan Sign. Did anyone need to look at that more? Okay.
Well, do you want to go ahead with this? Do you want to table this?
No, I
Okay.
just don't want to flip through the slides too fast.
Oh, okay.
So it sounds like everyone's okay. Here is a site plan, so this gives you a better idea of where the sign will be located on the site. It will be facing Gurley Street, which is due north, in the front yard. So for this one, I also used the East Prescott National District chapter within the Historic Preservation Master Plan to evaluate it. So they're actually, the language is just pretty light about signs as far as Preservation Master Plan, and that's something we will work on. But that chapter in part states that new construction should seek to use materials of a type and manner consistent with neighboring buildings. And I'm going to backtrack a little here, so sorry. So this property is special in that it was the residence of A.J. Head. So I'm not sure you've heard of the A.J. Head Hotel. And he also owned a lumber mill near town. So it was built around 1890. And it's pretty unique in that it has a gambrel-shaped roof. and some fish scale detailing. Again, I tried to find an older photo of it, but could not. So recommended action is move to approve or approve with modifications HP 23-017. And we do have, of course, the applicant here, Morgan Side, and I am open to any questions as well.
Hi, Kaylee. It's Rob Johnson. My assumption is that that's zoned commercial and residential. How does that, what's the zoning like on
Yeah,
this
it's
street?
business general, which is a flexible zoning.
Thank you.
It's Jim McCarver. What color was the sign? The background? It looks black on my. Is it going to be black?
Dark blue. Is that dark green? Am I losing my eyesight? Maybe.
You can't tell these things.
I mean, just as well. Dark green.
Good morning, everybody. Stefan Markov, 704 East Moore. The background is dark green, so it will actually complement some of the green on the building. And looking at the sign, I was also thinking we could paint the posts probably that lighter color that's prevalent on the building facade because the white is too stark, and we can tone it down a little bit if that's going to be an issue. The whole sign is going to be made out of aluminum, even the ornaments, they're CNC cut, so it will outlast wood 10 times over. It will look like wood, but it's actually the appearance of the structure that makes it look, how shall I say, it complements the building.
And the size complies to,
Yeah.
You know, I didn't check that yet, but Stefan knows the code as well as the planners on the
Well, it's
sign.
actually
On signs.
less than 24 square feet. In reality, we used the letters from the previous sign, and I was limited to what maximum area I can use, so that it looks good. And that was the best option we came up with. Actually, I had a longer one, but the client opted against that. And so these dimensions, they look a little odd, but the sign meets the code requirement and for footings and dimensions and so on.
well, if it meets requirements, what do we? Oh, Mike.
Mr. Chairman, didn't we have this home in the last year where they did some renovations and painting in the back and all of that other?
Yeah, I can answer that. Yes,
yeah, please.
they've been doing some renovations. The large one was they kind of excavated the front of the property, and they had to reinforce the retaining walls. So that was a major undertaking. You'll notice in your packets that I did a precursory review on the landscaping. Obviously not required, but what I recommended is that they replace some of the foliage in the front because right now it's pretty bare. But all of that has been permitted. And they will likely be pulling a permit for the interior remodel in the next couple months.
Thank you, Kaylee. Now, the reason I asked that is I really like the look of the house right now based on what we did in the past. I wandered around there last time. I didn't do that this time. Secondly is, yes, it's, preferred to be wood, but if you look at this particular picture that you have here on the left-hand side of the building, it looks to me like what I call Tupperware fencing, and on the back side on the right, and also the little picket fence. So this design material of being plastic or metal or aluminum, architecturally, in my view, fits right into as you say, the theme of the things and the color too. And I also like that it doesn't say, we're trying to go back in time sometimes to 1900. It doesn't say, ye old Salud Spa, okay? It's a contemporary.
It's not fake history.
It's a simple contemporary sign that fits the motif for a commercial building on that and still maintains the architectural integrity of the message you want to send there. So thank you.
Simple sign, it tells what you're doing, that's all it
Yeah.
needs, really.
Thank you.
So, any other questions? Shall we make a motion?
I'll make the motion. Marion Settles move to approve with the modifications.
Without, just move to approve as
Move
presented.
to approve HP 23017.
Second?
Rob Johnson, I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed.
Thank you.
Good job. Kaylee,
Thank you. That concludes our regular agenda items. So I have a few announcements. Circling back to Jim's question about the Goodwin Street property. So no word is basically the update. I have reached out to the property owner twice in the past 2 months. I'm probably going to need to have him come in. So just know that I'm working on it, and we'll probably put a deadline on it so as not to drag it out even longer. And then second item, the Plaza Hotel appeal. So that was originally scheduled to go to council last week. About the week before, the applicant, Jim Grissett, reached out and he asked for an extension. Been working with the city clerk and legal to determine, what kind of parameters he has as far as, how long he can have that extension. It's looking like it will be going to council in March.
I have a question
Yes.
for you. Will he be making more modifications or presented it as we?
He needs to present it as you viewed it. So I actually did send out an email to him, was it yesterday or the day before, just clarifying if you make changes, it will have to go back through Preservation Commission. And I'm going to follow up with a phone call today.
Great,
So,
thanks.
yes, Rob.
Yeah, Kaylee, Rob Johnson. So if council elects to follow the same response as our commission here, what are his options? Does he have any legal options after that?
So, obviously I'm not a legal expert, but I do believe he has an option to appeal to Superior Court, if I'm not mistaken. Really, the best source for that answer would be our city attorney's office. And, we'll take that bridge if and when we get to it. Okay.
Michael King here. Going back to the Goodwin Street, no news kind of thing. To what extent then, if it comes back to us, but do you have any ideas of what's happening with the building permit and the things that were in violation of building code proximities and without permits and the like? Does that have any influence on what we would be doing?
It does. So, we were in a quandary of which do we do first, preservation or building permit? And the idea is they need to get preservation approval first, because if they don't on the ramadas and or fencing, then there's no point in getting a building permit. Now, I would have to check in with our building team to see where the building permits are at. The interior remodel obviously doesn't have to go through a commission, but they do have a permit open for that as well. And it's been a process. I kind of have to draw information out of them and keep in constant contact, but we will get it done.
It's Jim McCarver. Just along with that same line of thought, in our notes, Mr. Worley talked about our minutes from the last meeting that if they do not comply with requirements, they will be prosecuted for violation of city code, which would go to court, and the applicant could receive fines. Is that Is that something that the city is pursuing at this present time, or do you have any?
I don't believe we are. And I believe I've mentioned this before, but we are in the process of hiring a hearing officer to help community development have more teeth in these building code planning violations. So, we've always had the language, you may get a fine, you have this amount of days. Now, has it been strictly enforced? No, because our only mechanism is the city attorney's office, and they kind of have to balance what they're doing. So I think by spring we will have that hearing officer, and, if this doesn't make progress, it would probably be a contender for that.
Yeah, Kaylee, Rob Johnson. I'm glad to hear that, and hopefully they can get somebody hired, because what we see happening are people are just going ahead and building whatever they want to because of the process it takes to get through the planning department and get permits and all of that. And so a gentleman like this, I mean, they're just going to do what they want to do and beg for forgiveness or just ignore the process. And so we really need some teeth, put in that thing. So I'm glad to hear that. Thank you.
Any other updates?
Yes, conference planning. So again, state conference will be here in late June. I've been doing biweekly meetings with the state office and other key preservation players in Arizona, and it's going very well. I feel like we're kind of ahead of the curve right now. I actually had some employees of the state office up on Monday, as well as the event planner, and we did kind of a downtown walk where we visited some of the venues. We talked with Charlotte Hall, we talked with the Western Heritage Center, kind of how we want a partnership with them. Also, I'm pleased to announce we were able to pull Yavapai tribe into the fold, and we have 2 of their archaeologists working with us potentially on a site tour, which is something new. We usually don't incorporate cultural resources / archaeology, but that's like really an aim for the state and for me personally moving forward. And that's about it. So yeah, block out your calendars.
What are the dates?
June 25th through 27th. And it's just before rodeo week. Made sure it didn't clash with that.
Mr. Chairman, Marianne Settle, how do you plan to use this board for the conference that you're doing? Not just for the knowledge that we serve and such, but possibly exchanging or picking up some ideas from those people coming in.
Yeah, so originally I was going to have you all brainstorm some tour ideas. We've got those pretty well penciled in, but I could use some help arranging the tours. Particularly, I'm thinking about doing like a heritage hunt downtown as part of one of the tours. So I'm not entirely sure yet how I'm going to pull you in, but you will be involved. And of course, I hope you all attend as well to be liaisons at the event.
And again, it's extremely important that this board does attend. To get that conference up here is a real plus for the city of Prescott. Mr. King, can you give us a little bit of information closer to the time on what we might do on a tour, since you do that very well?
Well, thank you, Marianne. Mike King here. I was going to offer my services as a tour guide. You have heritage tours. You have people that are all, we're sponsored by the Chamber, but still we do have people that can help with regarding the size of this group or small group tours to build into the agenda. And I'm going to offer my services as well as the other guides available for this if you need that. Working with you and Heritage and Charlotte Hall and the Chamber and the Tribe even as well.
Absolutely.
We're offering our services.
Yeah, I have a good problem going right now where I almost have too much help or too many people wanting to participate great problem to have. So I just have to figure out how we're going to arrange all the players in the scene. So also, there will be representatives from the National Preservation Network present at that conference, which is very cool as well. They had like 3 cities to choose from for the West Coast to visit their conference this year, and they chose us. So any more questions?
Yeah.
Those are all the
Anything else?
updates I have for right now.
Anybody else have anything? Well, then I move to adjourn the January 12th, 2024 City of Prescott Preservation Commission. Adjourned.